And welcome to another edition of Nights Around the Fire, Canonsburg's #1 paranormal podcast. I'm here with Sue Taylor, our researcher. We're going to talk about a big subject today, a big subject. What is that big subject?
We're going to go back and talk about our friend Bigfoot.
Yes, we're Bigfoot fans. I know people think that's silly, but I do believe the guy exists, and I believe so does Sue.
I do.
We've been to quite a number of basically Bigfoot hunters at the public library here, and we enjoy those things, but we try to investigate, we try to make sense of sightings, and try to give you, our viewer, an understanding of what we think is happening in the forests of America. So, Sue, where are we going today?
So in our last Bigfoot video, we were here in Washington County, Western Pennsylvania. Today, we are going to go right up I-79 and right across I-80 to the Allegheny National Forest. And then we're going to go up a little bit higher to the Kinzua Bridge State Park.
Beautiful places.
Yes.
I've been there.
Very much.
Very beautiful. We're going to show you some pictures of Sue's trip there.
Yep.
Before we get started, if you enjoy this content and want to see more of it, please subscribe to our channel. Also, hit that like button and share the video with as many of your friends as we can. Help us grow this channel and help us get more people involved in the paranormal. Okay, Sue, what did we find out about our Central PA friends?
So there's a lot more sightings in Central PA, and one piece of this that I want to toss out for everybody is I am again in this episode using references from the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society, or the PBS, the Bigfoot Research Association. Yeah, it's the BFRO. I remember the letters, but not what they stood for. And there are a lot of sightings there, not as recent as you would expect, but if you guys, once you've watched this video, if you go to YouTube and search Bigfoot sightings in the Allegheny National Forest or in the Kinzua Bridge area, you're going to find a ton of stories. And one podcast that I listened to a great deal, which was actually something that somebody linked to us a couple of weeks ago, was the Bigfoot Society podcast. And it is an excellent podcast. They have lots of stories of people who have had experiences with Bigfoot in most of these areas, and they are all very good stories to hear. So going to encourage everybody to check them out.
Check it out. Now, we say here in Washington County, we said we haven't really had any major sightings of Bigfoot. We do have someone that gave us a sighting we're going to talk about in the future in Washington County. As Sue mentioned on our last program, it was in the California, PA area. But keep in mind, a lot of people see what they think is a Bigfoot or see Bigfoot and they don't report it. Would you think that's correct?
And that's what it sounds like from looking at these. I know in the one story that I was listening to, they said they tried to send it into the BFRO and it wouldn't go through. But it sounds like that people just will tell these stories like campfire tales and they want to talk about it, but they don't actually turn it into the authorities. Authorities.
Right. The organizations that deem themselves the researchers. Okay, I understand. And so I want to make that clear because it's very easy to get tied up in what we think these creatures are. Were they a bear? Were they some other creature or animal? Were they another cryptid? These are fine lines when you're talking about going into the forests and looking for a Bigfoot. So we don't know how many sightings people have seen because not all of them are reported. We are going on the information of the two organizations that track that stuff.
Yes, and some great user stories on YouTube. So keep them coming. If you've got stories, tell them. If you want to come on and talk to us and tell us your story, we'd like to hear that too.
Please do. We are interested in what you have to say, and we're interested in what topics you want us to cover.
That too.
Okay, Sue, so what do we find out here? What's going on in the state forest there?
So let's start in the Allegheny National Forest. Allegheny National Forest is located in northwest Pennsylvania. It is about 100 miles northeast of Pittsburgh, which is right about where we are. It covers 513,175 acres.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, and it is believed to be one of the least densely populated areas east of the Mississippi River.
That's saying a lot.
That's really saying a lot. And it was designated as a national forest on September 24th, 1923. So it has been an ancient in this area for some time now.
Okay, so when we say how big that forest is, that's just the forest itself that's considered the national park.
Yes. And in our last Bigfoot video, we talked about how Washington County was home to the first crematorium in the United States. This forest, national forest, is about 40 miles from the first oil well in Titusville, Pennsylvania.
That's right, Titusville, home of the oil well. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that actually the wooded area is much bigger than the acreage in the national forest. This is just what's designated there. So you're looking at a much bigger area with a lot of other forested areas that aren't owned by the federal government.
Yes, and that's a big thing. Like, there's the national forest, but there's also a lot of not populated area around it, for lack of a better term. Next time we talk about Bigfoot, we're going to talk more about the Clearfield County area, which is just past a little ways away from the Allegheny National Forest. And that's just not a very highly populated part of the state. Like, there's no major cities there. You've kind of got Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, and then Philadelphia.
Everything in the center of Pennsylvania is very rural, very. Driving from here to Philly is a very boring drive because it's just all forest and trees and farms. So what we're saying here is that you're not going to get a lot of sightings because there's just not a lot of people per square mile that venture into that forest.
But the people who are out in those woods that do see Bigfoot, they are people who are accustomed to being out in the woods. They are hunters, they are fishermen, they are hikers, they are dirt bikers, as we're going to hear in one of our stories tonight.
Oh.
And so they know what they're listening for, and they know what animals they see out there. So when they see something, you're probably going to get more credible sightings from this area.
And that's one of the drawbacks to having mom and dad going into the woods one weekend and seeing something they think's a Bigfoot, excuse me, when it's a bear.
Yeah, that definitely happens. And we're going to talk again about the classification systems for the BFRO.
Okay.
And where these all fit in with those rating systems.
Okay, so what did we have? What sightings have we had out there?
Okay, so this is a big area for both sightings and sounds. We're going to talk about some that are sounds, some that are sightings. But this area is home to Marionville, which is home of the Forest County Bigfoot Festival.
Oh my, okay.
Which I have not been to. I would like to go. I want to go out there and get a cabin like for the weekend and just hang out and enjoy the Bigfoot Festival, enjoy some nice peace and quiet.
That would be nice.
Yeah, but I haven't been to that one. I've been to the one in Sutton, West Virginia, but I haven't been to Forest County yet. So maybe this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Bigfoot festivals across the nation, and that goes to tell you how popular the big guy really is.
Yeah. So, like I said, we're going to talk about some of the stories from the research groups, but we're also going to talk about some from YouTube. And my disclaimer before we go any further with this video is if you search stories from the Allegheny National Forest, make sure that you have found a legitimate story and not just a creepypasta, because there are plenty of those out there. And as you will hear later in this episode, I may have gotten caught by one of those when I was finding an initial story too, but it was still a really good story.
Yeah, those are basically written and produced as a story for YouTube.
They're not
very
real.
Popular.
Yeah,
they're
very
real.
popular, but no, they're not real.
Yeah, I believe they also have ones about zombie apocalypses and haunted places, and none of them are real. Many of them are well done where you could easily be fooled, so don't be fooled.
Right. There's some great ones, but they're not real. So one other thing that we need to take away from this is you are not supposed to be in the state game lands at night, which cuts down on hoaxes, which brings us back to our hoax question from last week's episode about the National Park Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Right. The Fresno Nightcrawler.
Right. Which if you haven't watched it, you're going to want to go check that one out.
Check that one out. That's interesting and it's fun. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. We were asked to do that one, and we did, and we enjoyed doing it. So what Bigfoot sightings have we seen here, what heard about here in the forest?
Okay, so we remember our, not Steubenville, our Columbiana Bigfoot Howl. We can add that
Right.
in.
Right here.
Okay, remember that? Go back and listen to it if you need to. So our first encounter is a vocalization out of Marionville in November of 2024. And I picked this story because it was one of the newest stories.
Okay, right. That's
2024, so it's pretty recent. This one was about 6:30 p.m. Some campers 5 miles north of Marionville. They said the sound lasted about 4 to 5 seconds. They had been camping in this area and heard the traditional animal sounds like owls, whatever, bird calls, coyotes, all of that. They had heard that, so they could tell that this was something different. To clarify, they did specifically say they heard coyotes, and we talked in our last episode about Bigfoot and coyotes hanging
there's a
out
link
together.
there, right.
Yeah. The storyteller says that they woke up around 3:30 in the morning, and they didn't hear anything else, but they felt like something was in their camp, and they were so uneasy that they couldn't go back to sleep.
So the forest went still.
Yes, which is something you very commonly hear
Yeah.
around Bigfoot.
Yeah. And they could feel a presence,
Yes.
a big presence.
Yeah.
Okay.
They might even have had big feet.
I'm sure he did, or she did.
So this is a BFRO sighting,
Okay.
and this was a Class B sighting. And to clarify, Class B means there may have been something observed, but it was far away, bad lighting, bad conditions, something that didn't equal a clear, like, yes, that is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at something weird.
Okay.
So a Class A, to get a Class A sighting, you have to clearly be able to see the creature, and it can't be misinterpreted, and it can't be misidentified as another animal.
Okay. So they're going to eliminate any other animal except you have to verify that, yeah, that is not a bear, that is not an elk, that is not a deer.
Yeah.
That's a Bigfoot.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And Class C is like a secondhand report or a lesser credible sighting. So something like I was driving along the side of the road and I saw a large, hairy, whatever.
Right.
Or a large, dark, whatever. We don't even have to go with hairy.
Right. So they classify that after they hear the story. Okay.
Right. So
this was a B.
Yep. This was a B because they didn't see anything, but they heard something and they could tell that the sound was not something they knew.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about a Class A sighting.
Here we go.
Okay. So this is a Class A sighting from June of 2010. This was also near Marionville. So this will tell you why the Forest County likes to hold its Bigfoot festival there.
Yep.
So near Marionville, close to Route 66, along an ATV trail, two riders were out on the trails when one paused to wait for the other. He then noticed that rocks were hitting the right front side of his ATV. He noticed that the rocks were hitting him, and he was like, well, that's weird for them to be flying at that angle. And then he realized that he realized that he wasn't moving and that the rocks were moving and he wasn't. Like, he was like, oh, I'm sitting still. Those rocks shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
So he looked around and he noticed a dark figure about 70 to 90 feet away that appeared to be sitting or crouching. It then stood upright. He guessed it was about 7.5 feet and not a bear. So clearly identifies not a bear in the story. It was broad-shouldered and stood on two legs. It had very long arms and was all black from head to toe. It had black eyes, a black brow ridge, and because of how black the skin on its face was, he could not tell any distinct features from the face other than it had lips.
Okay.
So he said the hair was short to medium length. It was not shaggy. And he said it was about 3 to 5 inches long. And this thing actually looked like it was groomed. Like, looked like so pristine it was groomed. And he said the hair was shorter near its head. Despite the area being muddy, there was no mud or dirt on the creature. And about this time, the man started to feel sick and took off on his dirt bike. He also said that he couldn't move for a short period of time.
Was he in fear or something else? We're talking about something
So
else
let's go with both. Yes, I could see being frozen in fear because we talk about being frozen in fear regularly and you're just so
Yeah.
paranoid, like the brain and the eyes don't recognize and like tell the body to move. So
WTF moment.
yes, but there are many people who believe that Bigfoot can mess with your head, and so he started to feel sick. He couldn't move, so I want to do one entire episode on things that people say Bigfoot can do, because there are stories of people hearing like Bigfoot talking to them in their heads, or hearing voices, or feeling like they should leave, or feeling compelled to do something. So maybe that's what was going on here.
That's interesting. I mean, this isn't common, though. I mean, for all the sightings, you don't hear that very often.
You don't. I read a lot of books by an author by the name of Rusty Wilson, and he is a fly fishing guide out west.
Okay.
And a lot of that ends up in his stories. Not all of his stories, but a lot of his stories feature that supernatural aspect of Bigfoot.
It sounds more along the lines of a Wendigo, shapeshifter,
Skinwalker. That could be it too.
And we're going to be doing a video on that as well. It's very interesting, very frightening, but I'm not really that familiar with people hearing or having Bigfoot take over their mind for a while.
So I heard something interesting. Speaking of skinwalkers, I heard, interestingly enough, that there are skinwalkers supposedly in Greene County.
I would not doubt that. Now, we're going
to talk about Greene County very soon.
It's labeled the most haunted county in America. That isn't us. We didn't label it. We have no say. But that's the word. And I have a book I'm reading about it. And I
probably have one of the same books.
And I'll tell you, there is every form of creature was witnessed there that you can imagine. So I'm not doubting that a Wendigo isn't in Greene County. And of course, we know that from the book that Bigfoot was spotted in Greene County as well.
Yes.
So this person felt sick because he believed that the Bigfoot somehow had some kind of power over him.
He doesn't say that, but that is drawing from some of the other things that I've read. I'm drawing, like, let's put a pin in that. Maybe that could be a thing.
I mean, we never know.
We don't.
I mean, this is a mystery.
It is.
Part of mysteries, legends, and myths.
But let's talk about one other thing.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe this creature was in such good shape because it's a portal being.
Here we go. We're back to portals, and we've talked about this in just about every program because they're relevant to some degree. Many people believe, and we're going to restate this, that Bigfoot is able to use portals that are, my opinion, is they're naturally there. He knows where they're at to move in and out of certain areas or whatever, right?
Right. I, for one, don't believe Bigfoot is a portal being, and I think the Allegheny National Forest is a good reason why it's not a portal being, because there's so much land up there that a creature of this size can hide in.
Right.
So I don't believe that Bigfoot is a portal being anyway, but if you're going to make an argument for the case, this could be, how clean he was could be a really good case for it.
Right. So when we're saying portal being, I don't believe he creates portals.
No.
We believe that he senses where they're at and can use them. Now, again, this is a discussion. Give us your opinion in the comments section. Let us know what you think because, again, everything is on the table here because none of us, including the people from the BFRO,
yes.
No one's experts. None of us are experts. We don't know everything. All they do is interview people, and they try to make sense of it and pretty much come up with a reasonable explanation and categorize it. But we don't know. So if you think you know, or if you have an opinion, let us know in the comments section.
We're open to anything.
Yes.
So that was a Class A sighting.
Okay.
Obviously, for reasons as to
definitely
why.
Class A.
And obviously that was not a bear.
No.
No. So here's another one from the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society, the PBS. So this writer says that they saw one on Friday night around sundown run in front of their car across north and southbound lanes on Route 66, which, again, we're talking about Route 66. It resembled an orangutan with a pushed-in snout.
That's different.
That's, yeah.
Maybe it's not. I mean, again, it's their visualization of it, right? It may have looked that way. Maybe that's a different creature. Maybe it's not.
Maybe it was a younger one. Maybe it wasn't fully developed yet.
But it was running on two legs.
Yes.
Okay, see, right there, it's not a bear. And I know people love the bear stories, bears don't run all out on 2 legs.
And especially
They
if
don't need to. They have 4 legs to do that.
right. And if a bear is going to cross a road where cars are, like a bear is just going to worry about getting across. It's not going to
Yeah,
go
it's
up
not
on
in the
its hind
circus.
legs.
It's
No.
not the circus.
It's not going to dance in its tutu.
Right, right. And just to qualify this, we don't have grizzly bears in PA. Grizzly bears are going to be the biggest and pretty much make the tallest bear that we're going to have in the continental United States. Grizzlies would be 7 feet high when they stand up.
I can say I saw a bear in the Smoky Mountains National Park. Well, I've seen 2. I saw one from a distance, and the one that I saw from a distance walked in front of our car, and it was not walking on 2 legs. The second one I saw was close enough that I could have, like, probably opened my car door, walked 5 steps, and touched it. Like, we can put that picture and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Put it on the screen. But that one was also, it was down on all 4s. It was not standing up on its hind legs to do anything.
Yeah, and they're not going to be 7, 8 foot tall. Not here in PA.
No.
Just the way it is. So we want to qualify that because I know it's easy to say every bear is like 9 foot tall. That's not true. That's all legends and people don't understand. There's numerous types of bears in
America, there are bears.
Yeah, there are bears. But here in PA, there's not grizzly bears.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that this wasn't a grizzly bear. We know that it wasn't a bear. We believe this was a Bigfoot going across the road. So that was a Class A sighting?
That one was PBS, so PBS doesn't do
They don't classify.
classifications. No.
Okay.
Actually, they classify, so when you look at the map, and we'll put the map on the screen, they classify by year, not by quality of sighting.
Okay.
Okay, so this is another one from the BFRO, and I believe this one was a B. This one was a family had a cabin up there, and they had it up there for several years. So they had never seen a creature, but they heard knocks, footsteps, branch breaks, smelled things, and they sensed that they were being watched.
Okay, those are a lot of check off boxes there.
Yes.
But they didn't see a physical creature.
No, did not see a physical creature.
Well, some of those things can be anything. I mean, deer roaming through the woods will break branches.
Yes.
Animals dying and basically in the forest can have, depending on which way the wind's blowing, can smell.
Well,
I'm just kind of qualifying it, but there is a certain smell people say Bigfoot has.
There is, and I have heard that Bigfoot smells like skunk, and there is something else that is not Bigfoot or skunks that smells like that. Starts with a marijuana.
Oh, yes, that's right. Mary Jane.
Mary Jane.
Yeah,
Hash
that's
weed.
true. Is that a skunk or is that Mary Jane? Only the discerning snout can figure that out sometimes.
Yes, the very clear senses can tell the difference between a Bigfoot, a skunk, and marijuana.
Right.
So if you're in the woods and you smell skunk, you might be in the vicinity of a Bigfoot. You might want to move before you end up in a very bad situation, either by the Bigfoot or by the skunk. Or somebody might be out there having a really good day.
Right, or Bigfoot's lighting one up. Who knows?
Hey,
I mean,
he could have as much as he wants out there.
yeah, he has
apparently.
farming capabilities, and that's what he raises is Mary Jane.
Right.
Okay, so these are all pretty much the ones we just talked about are leaning pretty much that this is Bigfoot.
Right. And so this is all the same area. Remember, it's a big area. So these are just a handful of the stories that I pulled off of these 2 websites. Again, if you go out to YouTube, there's a ton of them. There's a story about one story that I listened to from the Bigfoot Society podcast. The man had taken his family out there, his children and his nieces and nephews out there because they wanted to look for Bigfoot.
Okay.
And they heard noises out there, and he referenced the Columbiana howl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said it sounds just like that Ohio Bigfoot howl that you hear.
Okay, we'll play that again. Okay, that's pretty distinct.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I know people have tried to basically prove otherwise, but we kind of believe, and a lot of the experts that have heard that howl agree that's no other known animal that has that specific type of howl.
Right. And I remember in the 100 Bigfoot Nights book, when they were trying to identify the noises that they were hearing outside, the author said that her son just went through and played sounds that he could hear on YouTube. And she heard one and she went, "Oh man, that's what I'm hearing. That's exactly what it is. What kind of animal is that?" And he was like, "Mom, that's a Bigfoot howl." And I just put it in there, to throw you off. And I believe it was that Columbiana one.
That's pretty famous.
Yeah. It's a very distinctive sound.
Yes. Now the wood knocks, people believe that's a way of communicating, right?
Yeah, and I know people go out in the woods and try to replicate the wood knocks. Like Finding Bigfoot does that all the time.
It's difficult, but most likely Bigfoot's using a fairly large piece of wood where the average person probably couldn't even lift what he's using to make the knocks with. I'm assuming this. We're talking a 1,800-pound creature, maybe more, depending on the height. And they can do some damage if they wanted to.
Yeah, they definitely could.
Okay, Sue, so what else? What else we got here?
All right, so let's move on a little further. Let's move into the Kinzua Bridge State Park.
Okay.
And we're going to put another map on the screen right now. This is going to show you where the area of Kane is, because we're going to talk about Kane for a second. And we're going to talk about the Kinzua Bridge, which is up here in this corner of the map.
Yes, and again, very rural, very beautiful. And again, let me make it clear as you look at this map, or you looked at the map, when people talk about, hey, there's no Bigfoot out there, and you go into these areas, and you see the vastness of these areas, the massiveness of them, and the forestry, and how it's easy to, if you're not really experienced, to get turned around. It's easy to get lost. We want to take a trip this summer. Well, before the poison ivy and the snakes come out. Before the poison ivy and the
snakes wake up.
We're going to take a trip into a forest, not really to look for Bigfoot. We're not equipped for that, but to show you, our viewer, those of you that have never been in a forest before, realize that's a pretty big place, and it's very easy for any creature like that has some smarts about him, and we believe that Bigfoot is intelligent. It's pretty easy for them to hide from humans, I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay, so Kinzua Dam.
Kinzua, yes. So Kinzua Bridge is billed as the 8th wonder of the world. And for everybody who does not know, the Kinzua Bridge is a railroad trestle that spanned Kinzua Creek. And it was in this area that Kinzua Bridge State Park was formed around 1963.
It's been around a while.
And the bridge itself, which we will put a couple of pictures on the screen, which I took the time that I went out to this area, it was operating as a railroad trestle, but it had been closed down due to structural failure. So they were going to do some repairs on it until July 21st, 2003. Do you know what happened then?
It fell apart.
No, a tornado hit it.
Well, then it fell apart.
Yeah. So they looked at it and they considered rebuilding it, but then they decided that they would leave it as it was, as evidence of what nature can do.
They probably didn't have enough money to build a new bridge.
Well, that could be it too, and Bigfoot's not really a big contributor.
No, the bridge would be a massive span.
It is, and it's very big. When you see it, you can see how high up you are and how big of an area it is. And I say you can go and see how high up you are, because now the Kinzua Bridge has been turned into a skywalk.
Oh my.
That is open most of the year. They just closed it a couple of years ago for refurbishment, but it is open again, and you can go out on the skywalk, and they have like glass panes that you can look down, so you can look down to see how high up you are, and then you can get to the edge. And we'll put the one picture up that I took of the damage that you can see of the trestle.
Yeah, it's quite impressive, and of course you are pretty high up.
Yes.
So this place really is a rural area, and I know from the pictures of the bridge, it is a place you would like to visit if you came to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a great place to visit. We're going to be a tourist group here today.
We are. It is one of the top-rated items to see in Pennsylvania.
Yes. As well as Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Yes. Pittsburgh is a nice city. So if you come to Pittsburgh, we'll hook you up here and let us know who you are, and maybe we can hook up and have a coffee or a beer.
We're open to
Whatever.
anything. Rusty Gold's in town. We support our local businesses.
We do
here
support
at
our
Nights
local
Around the
businesses.
Fire.
Yes, yes. Okay, so what sightings did occur at Kinzua Dam?
So there's a lot of them.
Wow, here we go.
Yeah, there's a bunch out there, and that does not surprise you at all.
No.
This is the place, when you and I talked about it in our last video, I said on my way out there, I stopped at the Advanced Auto Parts down here in town and bought myself some pepper spray because I was not going out into the wilderness without some sort of arming device.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't work on poison ivy, by the way.
It does not work on that. No, it does not work on poison
Just
ivy.
saying.
But we went November, so there wasn't much poison ivy out there.
You get in the mountains, you do have rattlers, and they do sun themselves on the rocks. You'll see them there.
We didn't see, so we literally didn't see anything. And my friend and I went to the skywalk, and then they have a little like skywalk museum there that we went to and looked at the pictures, like learned a little bit about the history, and then we walked down under the bridge around the creek. And then we walked some of the trails out there, and it was very pretty. But we didn't even see we didn't see a deer, we didn't see a rabbit. I don't even think we saw another hiker.
Right, definitely a place you can make a movie in.
Yes, but you could definitely. I referenced Bigfoot multiple times when we were out there, and did not see anything. But
Is there a coffee shop there?
not that I know of. No.
Okay, anybody that's entrepreneurial, put a coffee shop, and I'll be out. I'm a coffee guy.
But I will say, in the Allegheny National Forest, they have really capitalized on the Bigfoot
Oh, here we go.
aspect of things. My coworker was out there last fall, and he brought me several stickers and a business card from a place out in the Allegheny National Forest that specialized in Bigfoot stuff.
Bigfoot is big money. It's big business today. How many shows on TV look for Bigfoot? None of them are really good. But there's plenty out there.
You don't think Mountain Monsters?
Mountain Monsters could be the worst TV program I've ever seen. Literally shooting in the air, running around. I mean, I don't know what those guys are doing, but
digging
it's
a
theater.
hole to trap Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Like, what? No.
I'd pay Bigfoot just to grab about 3 of them guys and see how far he can throw them.
Bigfoot, if you're watching.
Yeah, if you're watching this podcast, please, we'll show you their pictures.
So, okay. Kinzua Skywalk. This is where I tell you that I may have fallen victim to one of the creepypastas.
Scam.
I'm not 100% sure. This one, if somebody can find it again, let me know. It's not on any of the Bigfoot organizations with the state or the Bigfoot BFRO. It's not Bigfoot Field Research Organization. That's what it is. I knew it would come to be a bunch. Yes.
Sounds scientific.
Yes. So it's not on either of those, but I could kind of understand why, because the people in the story were doing something that's illegal, if the story is true. And what they were doing that is illegal was they were on the sky bridge in a full moon. So you're not supposed to be in the state game lands after dark.
No.
You're not supposed to be on the sky bridge when it's not open. That's a bad thing to do. So they were out there, and it's a full moon, and they could see the whole area. And they're young guys. They're doing what young guys do. They're making a lot of noise, messing around. And something below them, like they're up on the sky bridge, something in the forest below them starts screaming, like this just earth-shattering scream. And they said they could see the trees moving as whatever it was ran through the forest. So I don't know if this was an actual sighting or if this was a creepypasta. If it was a creepypasta, it's not a particularly creative one.
No, usually those are more in-depth detailed about what happened next.
Yes, and it's usually some huge plot twist where something crazy happens and they time travel and something weird happens. I really want that one to be true. Someone find that one for me, because I really want that one to be a valid sighting.
It's hard to research YouTube anymore because there's so many.
Yes.
So many, and they all look similar.
But the creek that runs under the Kinzua Bridge, that is a big area for Bigfoot, and there have been videos out there of Bigfoot supposedly wandering around near the creek, which, again, we talked about in our last video. Water sources, yes.
Right. Food sources and water sources and safety.
Yes. Yes. And so this is an ideal place because they can hide, they can get water.
Yeah.
There are food sources here. It's a great place for them.
Right. And again, very unpopulated.
Yes.
So, you're not going to, percentage-wise, odds-wise, I don't know how to calculate that, but you wouldn't have a good chance of just walking in the woods one day and seeing Bigfoot. It's just...
But if you were going to do it, one of these two places would be the place.
Yeah. So if you're a Bigfoot hunter, leave it to me. Well, what's they say? Leave me alone?
Leave me alone.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to leave him alone. He's going to be a star on our show here.
He is. So we'll put the map back up. Now we're going to go into the town of Kane.
Okay.
Okay. And Kane, I stayed in Kane when I went up to this area a few years ago and stayed at the Kane Manor Bed and Breakfast, which was actually a really nice place to stay. So highly recommend if you're going to go hunt Bigfoot in this area, that's the place you want to stay. So this one is from the PBS. So this story says, my one and only Bigfoot sighting occurred about half a mile outside of Kane in November of 2012. I was coming home the second day of buck season from work. So, hunter. It was dusk. Coming towards me down the beam of the road initially, I thought was a horse given the height of the animal. It was walking towards me. My first thought was, my God, someone's horse got loose. Suddenly, the animal turned sideways and ran in front of my car and crossed the road in about 4 giant leaps. So, walking on 2 legs. The entire time, it kept looking behind as if it was scared or being chased by something. I immediately pulled off the road to look and see if there were kids pulling a prank or someone dressed in a ghillie suit. I don't know what a ghillie suit is.
Yeah, that's Army used that to hide in the bushes.
Okay. But there was no one there, and whatever I had seen was long gone. Unfortunately, I was alone, and there were no other cars on the road to vouch for what I had seen. While I don't know for sure what I saw, I do know what I did not see. I did not see a horse, a bear, or a coyote. What I saw was bipedal, around 9 feet tall with hair all over its body. I considered myself very, very lucky to have witnessed what I saw.
Right. You know what? If we ever witnessed one, we'd probably feel the same way. It is striking gold.
And that's what the one story from the Bigfoot Society, the guy kept reiterating. He said it was just like a magical experience. It was something that we will never forget.
Yeah.
That we all experienced together. It was awesome.
I know on a lot of the Bigfoot programs, they'll talk to or interview some of the people that have seen them, and quite a few will say that as well, because it's an enigma. It's not something you will ever probably see again. It's something many people do not believe exists, and you witnessed it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that should send some chills up your spine.
And it's like seeing a full body apparition.
Right.
Of a ghost. That's that's not something, because one of the ghost tours I took in New Orleans said this is something, it takes a lot of energy for them to do that. So for them to be able to do that right in front of you is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, when you look at the paranormal in general, that's why it's paranormal. It's not normal. And what we're investigating is, even though a lot is said about Bigfoot and ghosts and UFOs, and there's a lot of information and videos on YouTube, it's still considered not normal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what else have we got out there in the central PA, north central PA world?
So those are the big sightings that I've got. Now, Kane borders, it's a little bit above the Allegheny National Forest. So those are you could very easily move between the two. It's a sparse enough area that is something that they could move along and no one would really notice them, because there's plenty of places for them to hide.
Yeah, I think, and we talked about this last week, we talk about saying, well, he's in this area. We think of an area as the 10 square miles that Cannonsburg exists in, or the Washington County area and the borders, but to a creature like this, there's no borders, there's no county, there's no township, there's no borough. For him, going from one place to another in a forest is probably every day for him. He's not locked into one area. He's going to go where the food is and where the safety is, and of course where there's water.
And from here, we're going to move more into the middle of the state.
Okay.
So maybe we'll look at Cook's Forest. I haven't really looked too much at Cook's Forest Bigfoot sightings, so I'm sure they're out there. And we are going to look at Clearfield County, because Clearfield County is another rural area, and it's got a lot of sightings, maybe even the most in the state.
Interesting. I wonder if there's any people that do demographics on states. So there is, probably.
There is. BFRO is probably the best place to look at them because they categorize the entire country.
Okay, so we know that the Northwest, the Great Northwest, and of course there's really no forest like those forests.
Right.
And they go all the way into Canada. We're thinking America, but Canada, America doesn't really exist to a Bigfoot. It's just one big playground of pine trees and forest and a wilderness.
So it's interesting that you mention about Canada. One of the Rusty Wilson books that I was reading this week mentions a Bigfoot moving into an area, and they say in the story that they think it came down from Canada. So even those stories that talk a lot about Bigfoot and talk a lot about the Native American aspect of it, that they reference that they move around a lot.
Right. And to mention the Native American aspect, we talk about that a lot here. When people say this is something new, it's not. The Native Americans across the globe, wherever they're at, and I know in the Yeti in Nepal, we know that they have oral traditions, and they've even had, and I've put some on here, I'll do it again, the cave drawings that many of the elders say is this creature, this massive creature that they encountered in the forest. So this is thousands of years old. This is before any of us were here in America.
It is.
So when someone wants to debunk Bigfoot, they have to also debunk a lot of the Native American traditions and evidence that was passed down through history about these creatures that they have witnessed and maybe even interacted with. So there's a lot of history, more history than we have with UFOs.
Yeah. And these are stories just that I pulled the most credible ones off of these websites. Again, if you go search Bigfoot stories in these areas after you finish up this episode, don't turn off this episode too soon. But there's tons of them out there. There's so many people who have seen something. And that was something that we called out when we talked about Washington County.
Yes.
Was there's not a ton of Washington County stories. If you search YouTube, there's not a ton that pop up in Washington County, Pennsylvania. But in this area, you could listen to these stories all day.
Right. And if you have a story you want to share with us, you can pretty much email us at strangeworld777@yahoo.com. I'll put that on the screen here. Let Sue, she answers all the comments, and she also checks the emails. We'll be more than happy to put your story, your sighting on air. If you want to go on air and talk to us about it, we'll get you on air. And by the way, if you enjoy this content and what we provide to you, please consider subscribing to this channel. That helps us get and go to put more stories up, to do more research. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share the video. That helps us grow the channel. And I know if people want to interact, please interact with us, comment and email. Sue is waiting with bated breath to hear from you. And we want to hear also what else you want us to talk about. And while we're at that, what are we going to talk about next?
So what we are going to talk about next, we have a big month of February coming up.
Big.
We are going to talk to the owner of a haunted business here in Canonsburg. We've got our friend Ken is coming back.
Ken, the ghost, paranormal ghost hunter.
He's going to give us some more stories. Next week, I am questionable if we're going to go straight on into Clearfield County. I really wanted to stop and tell you guys a local ghost story next week. But I asked AI the best stories out of Canonsburg, Pennsylvania to tell me, and this is why we don't trust AI, friends. This is why we don't trust AI, because the suggestions they gave me, I was like, well, none of that's not even true. Like, I'm not a professional ghost hunter, and I know I am a professional resident of Canonsburg, and I know that that's not true. Right.
So we're careful. We're going to bring you the best we can. But again, if you have a ghost story,
would like to tell that too.
Yeah, please. We're going to be a lot of our businesses in town have ghost stories. It's just getting the proprietors to talk about it on camera. Like I said, if you have one,
We're going to go to Greene County. We're going to talk about Greene County here. I've started the research on that, and we're also hoping to go to Greene County in the next few months and do some on-site ghost hunting with Ken down in Greene County.
Now, as much as we'd like to even do it in the winter, if there's a nice day, the problem is we have like 15 inches of snow on the ground, and that makes going anywhere, even though the roads are clear, but getting anywhere else is very difficult. That, especially in Greene County, I'm sure the places we would need to go are more rural. So we'll have a Greene County session here, but we're going to, as Sue said, make a trip to Greene County and see it firsthand.
We're going to let the snow melt first.
Yeah, and I know Ashley, if you're wondering where Ashley is, Ashley's still with us. She's had other opportunities, and she's going to come on. She's still going to do her AI video, The Dangers of AI. Look out for that. And to make sure you don't miss any of these episodes, ring that bell icon, hit it. That'll notify you when we've released a video. You don't want to miss anything here. And don't forget to go back to our website and watch all of our videos. They're all interesting. They're all good. And again, let us know what you want to talk about. What do you think?
I think we need to decide what we want to talk about next week. I've got a lot of choices. We just have to pick one.
We'll have a meeting. We'll talk about it. But it'll be interesting. I guarantee it. And again, please make sure you keep in touch. And that's all the time we have today. Thank you for watching Nights Around the Fire, Canonsburg's #1 paranormal podcast. Thanks again.
Bye, guys.